This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief, Spartan 117. Welcome to Quality Time, the KO Koala Entertainment podcast. Anthony and Skylar will take it from here. Master Chief, out.
Hello and welcome to Koalatea Time, the KO Koala Entertainment podcast. I'm Skylar Sokol.
And I am Anthony Nicoloso.
And today we are here to talk UI and not Ultra Instinct like someone like who thought it was Ultra Instinct TV game.
Sada was thinking we were talking Ultra Instinct, trying to spoil manga episode 60, chapter 65
of Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, but no, we're going to be talking about user interface, whether that means like the HUD in games or the menus of games. Surprisingly, like, you might not think this is that exciting of a topic, but Anthony gets really fucking passionate about this topic, dude. Like,
yes, yeah, I do. You know, I think it comes from the fact that there are a few things I've come to find that there are a few things that I despise more than wasting time. So if almost in everything I do, I try to put measures in place to avoid wasting time in the future. So if I'm doing something in code and I have to like put effort towards understanding something, you bet your ass I write that shit down so that the next time I have to figure it out, I can go read it. Things like that, right? If I figure something out, if I put the effort in, and it's not even just mentally, it's physically too, I'm going to make damn sure I don't have to do that shit again. Even if it means putting more effort.
No, totally.
So
I agree. Like, if you're in a situation where you know what you want to do, like, you should be able to just do it, right? You want to just be able to do it, right? If I'm like, I want a quick play, I want to rematch the same playlist that I just played in Rocket League, and you can't fucking do that shit. Like,
did it come back for you?
Sort of. It's not perfect, but it worked. You can just go back to play, and it'll bring you back to the ranked menu, and you can just hit play again. So it like
for context. Yeah, for the people who are listening, Rocket League just recently went through a UI change when they went free to play, and prior to that UI change, you had this option called just quick game or something, right?
Quick play.
With a button at the top, quick play, and it would immediately just cue you into whatever you played last time.
Right.
Correct?
Yes, that does not exist anymore.
They fucking took it away. And not only did they fucking take it away, you've got to press through a bunch of fucking tiers to get to the shit you want.
They buried stuff. Yeah, it was crazy. It was so funny.
Unbelievable. Who the fuck okayed that? Why? Like, I don't know if that is like somebody was thinking like, hey, maybe we can manipulate, maybe we can encourage people by forcing them to go back into the menus to try something else.
I don't know. I need that at this point. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's like that shit. You're a free-to-play game. You should be driving my engagement as high out the fucking roof as possible.
It should be as easy as possible for me to get to the fucking game.
Oh, God,
but if you're getting into the game fast, then how are you going to go to the store to buy your real money items, Anthony?
Ooh, that's fucking bullshit. It better not have been that. Like, well, we need to get them to the main menu. They spend way too much time away from the main menu on average.
They spend way too much time playing our game.
God. Yeah, unbelievable, man. I think now I will give them credit that outside of that fuckery, a lot of the other things were good about the recent Rocket League UI update, or at least that I enjoyed. Primarily, one big thing is the use of imagery more prominently, and I think like bigger imagery. I'm a big fan of communicating things with icons and images over text.
Now, this is actually a huge thing in board game design because... And the reason it's so good, like board games that can communicate everything through icons, it can be hard. The learning curve becomes higher, right? Because you have to be able to associate those icons with the concepts they represent. But once you're past that, the game becomes completely language independent, which is super valuable when you're printing a board game. And I assume also valuable in localizing a video game, right? There's less translation to do. So
that's true. That's a good point. I didn't think about localization, but that's definitely true. I just think you spend less time understanding something. Now, it's hard. I think maybe the way I'm talking about it is like, I think like, man, UI is so fucking easy. Like, why people are so dumb? Like, I don't think so at all. I think it's very hard.
I made goofy ass menus for our game, and those were not that easy to make, and they were so bad.
Yeah, well, actually, to that point, the menus we have in our game right now, I'm talking about imagery. We don't have a single image on any of the buttons. They're all text, you know. And because it gets into understanding, hey, what image is good. There's the notion of like affordances, and Don Norman uses a different word. He's a prominent UX designer, and I'm starting his book, but I'm not done yet. But there's affordances, and there's another thing it's the terminology to communicate, like, by using this icon, you are providing some affordance of what this thing that it's representing is for. So if you have a little water droplet, you're indicating on the fridge that this is water that's going to come out, not ice cubes.
Right.
And
although don't get me wrong, I've seen tons of those designs where I get confused by the iconography. Right. Like, it's way easier to make those confusing than it is to make text confusing.
And I think so. My mind is going to the new PS5 UI reveal.
Okay. If you guys didn't see, there's a YouTube video where they like sort of go through a day in the life of playing the PS5, basically.
Yep. And the Xbox UI is actually already out. It just, it came out for all of the old Xboxes too. I have it on my thing. And one thing, there's a few things I was thinking about while I was watching it. First and foremost, I think that when we're talking about text and stuff, I thought that PS5 used less text than the Xbox UI. I generally, one thing that I feel like for some reason, maybe this is just Halo. It's maybe unfair to say all of the Xbox UI does this. It's maybe just Halo 5 specifically, but Halo 5 had a lot of text and not a lot of imagery in its UI. And it was one of the main menu of Halo 5 was, oh, dude, the armor menu. Oh, I hated it. It's like for example, in Reach, Halo Reach, so it's not even Halos do this bad, and other customization items, right? If you're a soldier, you might want to first look at the helmets, right?
Sure.
So you have a helmet thing, and you have a scrollable list of all your helmets. Cool. And whatever. Halo 5, you had a fucking horizontal list that just went of over 250 fucking armors and helmets, dude.
That's like Rocket League garage. Like when you go to manage inventory in Rocket League, it's fucking trash. It's just
but at least, dude, they have filters.
They do. They do. You can filter. The Halo 5 did have it.
You're fucked. The only filter they have is that they organized it by rarities. So if you have everything in the game, you're just scrolling the fuck to the right until you get there.
No.
Considering the fact that you can get into, like, you come out of a match in Halo 5, you can open up the menu to find your new thing, and you're not even done at the fucking thing before you get in the next game and the UI goes away. It's like, oh my God. Anyway,
crazy.
I will be sad. They said they're going to go back to the Reach UI, which I consider to be one of the best UIs I've actually ever had in gaming, at least for me personally.
Interesting.
So we'll see there. But what did you think? Did you see that PS5 UI?
I watched like some of it. It was just so like cheesy that it was hard for me to like keep watching.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm here halfway through Sackboy Adventure, but let's check out what else is here while I wait or whatever.
Yes. No, that's true. One thing I don't know
but regardless, it looked cool. Like it looked good.
Looked pretty.
It looked nice. Pretty. Yeah, it sort of just reminded me of like Netflix. Like it's kind of like every UI right now. Every UI does this same like large panel approach, right? That's like the modern UI design concept. Epic Game Store does this. Netflix does it, right? I saw someone like in the comments or whatever say it was basically like the Disney Plus UI, like. It's just these big panels are like the popular thing now. That's what people like. They want the panel-based UIs. Rocket League's new UI is very much like that as well.
Mm-hmm. And again, I think it lends itself to images, and images kind of convey a richer context than just a little text or thumbnail. So I don't have really anything against that notion of like big images and big stuff.
Not necessarily me either.
I don't like horizontal scrolling. I don't like it. Like
I like if everything. I want everything to be on the screen, dude. And if it's not, let me click a button and expand something. Right?
Exactly. So like that's why I was saying like one thing I liked about the Reach UI was that you had like some high level options like helmet or whatever, and essentially you could drill into it, and eventually you just got into something that you vertically just kind of plowed through. But you had a nice amount of granularity in the filtering, if you will, of what you could choose. So you weren't fucking around with like Halo 5, and moving through everything.
Right.
And on top of that,
go ahead.
No, and on top of that, the thing I liked was that Reach's menu was like to the side while you were drilling through some of those options. So for example, if you were queuing up a game or you were trying to set up a custom game, you had the options for the game and everything on the right, or whatever the party leader was setting on the right. So you could still see what was going on in the activity that you were like primarily participating in. And then on the side, you could like drill into the menus. And should you eventually want to like look at helmets, okay, then it like took up the whole screen, but it wasn't taking up your whole screen all the way up until that point. So you could still like get things done, change sensitivity, blah, blah, without like having, losing context on like what you were doing.
This is a big thing in fighting games too, actually. Like good fighting games let you like set your button configurations in the character select screen while the other person is still able to select their character and select their own buttons, right? Like each player, even though you're sharing the same screen, has an independent UI they can interact with. Super valuable in fighting games. What Master Animus says in the chat, which I definitely agree with, is that UIs are better when they're more compact and simple, and you can just look at them and understand them, right? Like the best thing about a UI, it's like we said at the beginning, right? If you know what you're looking for, you should be able to find it very easily. You know what I mean?
I think the best UIs you, in a sense, don't notice.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so the boys in the chat are saying the Smash Bros. UI is really good. And I'm about to fucking shit on these kids because the Smash Bros. Ultimate UI is trash. The main menu is great. Okay, the main menu is just like obvious buttons. But once you get in there, to make a custom game in the new Smash Bros., you have to make a preset. Like, it's not like fucking Melee or whatever where you can click the button, set everything, and just play. You gotta make a preset. If you want controls, you gotta go back and go into the settings menu to set your control. This is trash.
I agree. And you have to name the preset
yes,
every time.
Trash.
Yeah, but I agree. That part is...
Josh, in his defense, says the main menu is what he was talking about, and the main menu is good. So I want to transition now away from menus to HUDs, because I think HUDs are interesting too. I think there's a big debate about whether people want like a really minimal HUD or if they like a lot of information. What kind of HUDs are you like? What do you like from a HUD?
I'm definitely more of a minimal. Like I prefer the least amount of information that I need to have on the screen. But I also play a lot of games that I'm trying to think like the HUD that I have, like the game that I play that has the most cluttered HUD is probably like Minecraft. Honestly,
Minecraft has a very cluttered HUD for sure.
Yeah, it does. And you know what? I don't know if there's an option to disable this. So if it is, it's fair. I'm so happy we brought up Minecraft because Minecraft is my second favorite game overall of all the games. And the UI fucking sucks. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it's gotten better too. That's what's crazy. It's better now than it was.
And I think that they kind of screwed the pooch, as the saying it says, that when they transitioned Bedrock from being a primarily mobile engine to like the thing that's used on console stuff, they took that like UI design with them, and it's fucking horrible. It's ugly as fuck. It's so noisy. You can ask the stream every fucking time over the last 2 weeks that I've jumped into the realm with them, and I'm like, what am I supposed to where the fuck do I set my character skin? Because first of all, it's a separate issue.
I remember when we did the trial, right? It like took you forever.
Well, and if you looked at my stream yesterday, the people were watching, it's like it's completely unclear. What the fuck do I own? What is in the store?
Right. Yeah, that happened to me
I don't know.
too.
Maybe that's intentional. They don't want me to get of. Yeah, but which UI are you talking more of? Master Am is asking chat. Minecraft right now, the one I'm mainly talking about is not the crafting one, because I think the recipe book helps me. I don't even do the original crafting recipes. I know everyone's gonna think I'm like so not.
Yeah.
Legit.
It's okay. It's okay.
I use that recipe book. I'm talking about like when you press pause and you need to do anything else but the primary game is total shit.
It's trash. So moving on
and
not moving on from
the last thing I was going to say, I hate that in the Bedrock version they have the fucking like what the button is in the corner. Like the left arrow is to open inventory or some shit. And I'll let you jump in there.
Damn,
before
I just didn't know you had such strong feelings about the Minecraft HUD, but
hate that
damn.
shit, dude.
I'm thinking about HUDs like World of Warcraft. You want to talk about cluttered HUDs, dude? That thing is like a nightmare. That thing is like there's like you got like 2 toolbars on the bottom, you got 2 toolbars on the side, you got like 3 inventory menus open, you got like a health information, like it's crazy.
True.
And people install mods in WoW to add more UI for like more information. And I mean, maybe that's the MMO feeling, right? Because MMOs, in a way, are like spreadsheet games, right? So, like, you'd rather be looking at the spreadsheet than playing the game almost. Like, the game comes second. Right. So, maybe for those...
You want to, like, set up your command center of shit.
Right. Like, EVE Online, same way. But, yeah, I'm also, just to go back to the original topic, I'm also a very minimal UI person. I love... Marcus coming in a little late to talk about Smash Ultimate. I already shit on it, Marcus, but the main menu is really good. You can listen back and hear what we say and give us your opinions. We'll talk to you in the Discord about it. But anyway, I'm also a minimal UI person. I think it's so sick when a game has like can afford to have no UI. Like Death Stranding does it great. Dead Space, shout outs to Dead Space. I don't know, have you ever played or seen
the UI on the character?
UI is on the right. Your health and your ammo and everything is on the character, and it's so cool, right? Like, I want to be immersed in the game I'm playing, right? The menu should not be like a hindrance to your experience of what's happening in the game, right? Like, these people didn't work for like hundreds of hours on these graphics to have them be obscured by a giant fucking wheel where you have to like pick shit or something, right?
Yep. No, it's true. It's interesting. Josh is in chat. Our designer, Josh, part of KO Koala, and he's saying my Unreal Engine setup feels like an MMO. It's so cluttered.
That's true.
And you know what? It is. It's really when you first jump into Unreal Engine. I'm gonna say the same for Unity because I was just in it.
Same with Blender as well.
Yep. Oh fuck, dude. Blender's probably the worst one. And you can like move blenders around.
At least,
shit.
Yeah, you can like make blenders spread out over like every monitor you have. So there's like a thing in every corner.
Like those are. I mean, honestly, I haven't jumped into Blender recently. Again, when I was thinking about like, I was like, I'll go through asset packs to see if I have a fucking block that looks like this before I have to reopen the lecture that tells me what the fuck these windows are. Like.
Right.
Oh
yeah, gosh. I wanted to make just like a wall with a hole in it, and I was like, I'm out. See ya.
I'm just gonna go and like look in the factory pack for.
I'm gonna put like 3 different squares together to sort of make a hole in the middle because that's easier.
I'm serious. Of course, it's like for us now too. Now we're kind of used to Unreal. When people get used to Blender, it enables you, right? Like a master of the tools can really use them to their advantage.
Well, this is the thing about the WoW UIs, right? These like having tons of clutter. That means that like rather than having things nested, everything you need is one click away rather than multiple, right? And if you understand the depth of that and you like have the mastery of that UI, it's the best UI you can possibly have from like a speed of access to anything perspective, right?
You know, I'm going back a little bit here. You know who had a UI I enjoyed as a kid? The Pokemon games on Game Boy.
Yeah, they were like simple and easy to use, really understandable. I mean, they were made for kids, right? Like their target demographic is kids. Yeah, that's a good one.
I feel like you could have fucked that up worse. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Especially with the items and sort of the abilities and the healing of Pokemon. Like you had like the first initial like 6, right? You could carry 6 and you had the health bars there. You had like an initial UI in the menu that kind of gave you the information on your Pokemon. You know, it was pretty solid, honestly. Like from a perspective of already getting a lot of info on the first page. I think that's the balance you're trying to find, right? As when you're making a UI like that. In some games, it's even more important to find this balance, but you're trying to convey enough information that you're telling the player all the meaningful things they need to know in the HUD or the menu or whatever context they're in, but also not too much, you know. Right. And that's definitely why it's hard. That's definitely why it's hard. Yeah. I want you. There's some. So when I'm thinking about like Cuphead and Ori are like spinning around in my head as in games that I thought did a good job recently. They're outside of sort of the normal games I usually play. What did you think of the UI for those games?
I mean,
if you remember.
I'm thinking like Ori and the Will of the Wisp because that's what I played recently. That's similar to regular Ori though.
Yep.
I really like the Ori UI. It's super minimal, right? It's just got a little bit of it's iconography based information. And it's just like at the very bottom of your screen, and like the art style and aesthetic of the UI like is in line with the style of the rest of what's going on in the game. So I feel like it doesn't pull you out of it at all to like look at the UI.
I agree. And the map and everything like that.
Right. Yeah. Especially in Will of the Wisp where there's a lot more like abilities and mechanics you can like equip and apply.
Like
it still works super well. Yeah. It's still really easy to manage. And it's really cool, like even at the pause screen, there's just like a little icon for every single thing you've like accomplished in the game. That's like it's not meant to be like super obvious, but it's just like there and nice and aesthetic.
Yep. Sinister Plum, Ori was epic, probably one of the best games I've ever played. Yeah, we'll take a moment to shout it out. It is an amazing game.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried Ori,
Anthony hasn't played Will of the Wisps yet. He's gonna soon. That shit's so good.
And I am legitimately excited to play that one. Actually, speaking of things I'm playing, let's talk Doom UI real quick.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Because the Doom 2016
Are we talking
UI,
Doom console UI or Doom PC UI?
Actually, yep. I think maybe we can talk about both. But because I think the user interface on console and playing on controller has actually prevented me to some extent from playing Doom the way I think it was meant to be played.
But honestly, I can't think of a better way to do it than how they did it on controller. It's just not a game that's really suited for being played on controller because there's so many weapons. This is actually something we talked about when we were originally discussing just like game design in general and ideas for our game and games we could make. We talked about like if you have a bunch of items that you want to interact with at rapid pace, it's really difficult to do that on a controller. And Doom is that exact kind of game, right?
Yeah, so specifically the thing Skylar's referring to here is when I've been playing. So I'm playing on controller. I'm playing on PC, but I'm playing with my controller. And I tend to basically use my guns as a 2-weapon system, even though I have them all. So I'm like kind of at any given time sort of thinking like I have 2 guns. And at a certain point, usually like if I clear out the imps, for example, and then the fat guys show up, or if the big guys with the big skull head start charging at me, then I sort of like make a conscious choice to change out the weapons I'm using, but I sort of carry them through the encounter.
Right.
I'm not like rotating through and plowing out the gas cannon to shoot the big fat guy and then quickly pulling out the shotgun to shoot the other guy. I'm just using whatever the fuck the 2 I have. So much so that I burn through ammo in a way that is not. I don't think I would burn through ammo the same way if I was rotating through all my guns.
No, probably not. Yeah. I like when I was playing Doom, dude. I would just be like fucking doing shit. And I would just like mash a random number on my keyboard because like I didn't necessarily remember what numbers correspond to which gun. So I would just like guess whatever I got. I was like, whatever, we'll use this for a bit, and then I would just like hit a different number.
And you have the mouse wheel, right?
Yeah,
like,
you can use the mouse wheel, but I generally hit the numbers. But that's just because that's how I play. But yeah.
So here's one thing. So it completely, I also think the radial menu puts a huge pause on combat for me. Like Doom is going like 100 miles per hour. And then you're like, switch guns. Okay. Now we're going back. Yeah. Like it really breaks the flow.
Totally. I think all games, like I hate games that do like slow down menuing.
So I was just going to say, Gears of War also has a radial menu, but they don't slow things down.
Yeah.
And Doom is so fast that I think they probably had no other choice on controller.
Agreed.
Here's the one thing that I said yesterday on stream that at least for me would work. I'm sure in their master UX perspectives they disagreed and they probably tried it, but I wish maybe it would just also be an option, but that I could, instead of, if I just tap Y, I tap between 2 guns, I wish it rotated through all of the guns. And if I wanted to, optionally, I could hold Y for the radial menu.
Right.
So that's one thing that I think would
gun system. Yeah.
Because you're fucking like running away from them and you could spam a few Ys to get to another gun, you know? And I think that's actually kind of closer to your like, let's hit a number,
right.
kind of a thing. Like I think the shotgun's 3 hits away. I'm sure after 10 hours in the game, you're probably you kind of memorize where they line up and everything. Another thing about the Doom UI, I did not use the map one time.
I think the map. So I tried to use it a few times. It's really confusing and not very well indicated. You can get things later that show you where all the secrets are on the map. And I think if I was going for 100% completion, that would be when I would use the map. But other than that, the map felt very useless to me as well.
Actually, Evan, the music guy, if you listen to our music, he's the one who makes it. You can find links in of all our content that he has his music in. He makes banging shit. But he was in stream and he was saying that he likes to 100% things and that's when he used the map for Doom, which makes sense. But that brings up an interesting question. And somebody actually asked us to talk about the Fortnite UI earlier. What that effectively then took up like this whole chunk of menu and stuff for me for something I never used, right? And I wonder if me and you both are having it. Maybe that's we weren't the only ones, you know, like we didn't touch the UI on the map stuff. So on one hand, maybe that's great, you know, great level design that we didn't need the map. But on the other hand, it's like, you know, did they just, if they just made it for the people who are trying to 100% it, you know, is that worthwhile to make?
I think that's worthwhile. Oh yeah, because that game is full of secrets, dude.
Yeah,
like so many.
I only use it, which is fair. I mean, from that perspective, especially if I'm not familiar with what people expect out of Doom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, Doom is a game that is the expectation is secrets. And like,
yeah, so if you're looking at, right, if that's a thing about Doom, then cool. Props to them for literally making something that people don't even use for feeding that element of the game. You know what I mean? But yeah, since I didn't use it from my perspective. Now, we have talked about it before. Celia Hodent was the previous user experience lead at Epic and was there for Fortnite too. She wrote this awesome UX book, user experience book, which also, of course, touches on UI elements and stuff like that. And there's many interesting things she talks about how Epic went about designing their UI, some decisions they made. One of the ones that I think is interesting is that every time you go to interact with things, they always show you the button to press, regardless of how many times you played it. And it's like not just the first time. And that the notion was, if you show the player what they need to press, it's less that they have to keep around in memory, specifically in working memory. So working memory is very limited amount of memory that you have. Like it's the thing where if somebody tells you their phone number, you only remember like the first 7 or whatever the fuck, and by the end you're like, oh shit, what was the other one? Like if you didn't have the common area code, you might forget it by the end. Like that working memory is so limited and is so fast. They're trying to limit the impact on it, so they show you the buttons, for example.
It's also really good for returning to the game as well.
Right. So you come back, fuck, I don't remember. Here's the button. So when I was saying that thing about the Minecraft thing where you have the button for inventory, I gotta think that's what they're thinking. Oh, yeah. They're trying to give that option for the players, and especially since Minecraft has such a young audience as well, I'm sure that helps them, right? Like,
although I will say, I think in general, younger people have stronger working memories, actually.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I agree with that.
But yeah, I think that's great. Like I can't tell you how many times I've gone back to play a game that I haven't played in a while, and and I have no fucking clue how to play the game, and it's just like, all right, time to go into the controls screen and like try and memorize all these controls that I've forgotten. Whereas if it just like gave me contextual clues for things, I would be able to just like remember based on good UI design.
Yeah, and I think another interesting thing from that book, I mean, we maybe have become more aware of it and informed on it. But for people out there, there's so much work and testing that these companies put into their UI and UX. I mean, a lot of them.
At least good companies, yeah.
So many play tests and whatever. And I think actually talking about accessibility is another interesting thing that you've seen like improve over the recent years. I know Xbox, like I've been paying attention to the things Xbox does just because I've been following those people. I'm sure PlayStation's doing things on that front too. But and actually I can't speak to it myself directly, but that The Last of Us Part 2 did phenomenal job regarding accessibility on a few fronts. So yeah, anyway, I think that's another thing. It's not maybe more important, more personally important to some people than like the map of doom. But these big companies, trying to figure out how you can make these experiences more accessible, whether it's, for the sight impaired, some hearing options or whatever, like
Right.
the different things they do, the different color options. That's another one. Color, anyway, very interesting and commendable.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So where can people find us?
You can find us at koalaentertainment.com. There you have links to all of our social media, including Instagram, where we do giveaways, Discord, where we do giveaways, and even more important, in Discord, you get a first peek at the universe of our upcoming game. We have Agora, and now the second custom bot, Parthenon.
Woo!
A special research division within Agora in universe. In the Discord right now, come play some trivia. You can gain research at an exuberant rate. And for those who are listening right now, double research weekends coming your way soon for trivia. So basically, you'll be able to gain double the amount of normal research on the weekends. So,
and
big,
super hype,
do it.
Secret feature on the horizon coming in the next few weeks. Super hype. Everyone should get hype. Rollick in the chat, responsible for the inspiration for me coming up with the idea for it. Super sick, coming soon.
I think it's cooler than Objectives, Marcus. Although, Marcus, on that front.
I guess we got a secret announcement. For all you end of podcast listeners, you get the good shit. Tell them.
Yeah, we will hopefully tomorrow. If it doesn't mean that I sleep 2 hours, we are going to be starting game challenges. So, for example, tomorrow I'll be announcing a Rocket League challenge in which if you win 5 over the next 2 weeks, if you win 5 games,
5, 10, or 15, right?
5, 10, or 15 games with people from the server. So, for example, Toby, you need to be playing with Marcus. Marcus, you need to be playing with whoever. In Rocket League this time, we'll do different games and stuff. You get 5,000 research for 5 wins, 11,000 research for 10 wins, and 20,000 for 15 wins. So you are being incentivized to go play Rocket League with the fam. Rocket League is we have a huge Rocket League community within the Discord. So we are family. There goes my number 1 spot since I don't play. Don't worry, Rollick. There are ways, and there will be other ways.
It's just 20,000 research too. I think you're more than 20,000 research ahead.
Yeah, new ways for you guys this will start to be a recurring thing. These kind of external server challenges. Beat Rollick 1v1 in a StarCraft. I think that should be probably worth a lot. Actually, maybe we just take money from Rollick if you beat him. Research from him. Anyway, so challenges, something special coming. Skylar's alluding to, especially. I just wanted to add, it's an end game thing.
Yeah, it's for our hardcore users. It's end game content coming.
It's end game content. If you think like trivia and stuff, which does lend itself especially to newcomers. Actually, we have evidence. We had a Kachau, if he's listening, Kaachau. He joined the Discord server, and King Moose actually also. Kachau just got level 6, which is the level that you need to be from giveaway. And for a giveaway, and King Moose I think is level 3 or level 4, almost exclusively on trivia.
Damn.
So that's definitely, if you're new to the Discord, play some trivia. It's great returns. You can get like 20. I think it's like 10 to 40x what you normally could for that same amount of time researching.
Yep.
So
and look forward to additional Rocket League challenges like tournaments and stuff that I might host in the future. Stuff like that for premium research rewards.
Yep. So, we have Marcus in here. He's trying to team up with the amazing players in the Discord, but you're going to get matched against those amazing players, and you guys are going to get shit on, Marcus, because you suck and you don't practice.
Damn. All right. Anyway, on that note, shitting on our editor, we're going to peace out. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next week.
Next time.
Next week, Doom podcast.
Doom.
Even though we sort of had a little preview of it here, but we'll talk more.
We won't talk UI.
Yep. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
See you.